Deputy Speaker, every Australian is affected by rising energy prices, and one of the reasons for this is the domestic gas shortage. The Turnbull government has failed to resolve Australia's largest ever gas crisis. Let me cut to the chase, Deputy Speaker. We are the only gas-producing country in the world that does not mandate some of it being reserved for domestic use. Supply is not the problem. Exporting so much of our gas without reservation is. The ACCC's report last week highlighted the high prices still being paid by Australian industry and gas users. And I quote, they said, facing difficult choices, the businesses facing difficult choices around their long-term investment decisions and long-term financial viability. And the report goes on to say that the gas market is unsustainable. Yet, when Malcolm Turnbull had the chance to take real action to tackle the gas crisis and impose export controls, he instead chose an unenforceable handshake agreement with the big gas exporters. Now, the Prime Minister failed to pull the export trigger control by November 2017 to ensure that the Australian households and manufacturers are not being charged exorbitant prices for Australian gas. Instead, he relied on that handshake agreement, and it's not grounded on any specific legislative provision, essentially only enforceable against the gas companies that are parties to it, that shook his hand, and in accordance with any of their private terms and conditions that they'd agreed to. It effectively relieved the Prime Minister and the government of the need to consider triggering the Australian Domestic Gas Security Mechanism, a mechanism which provides the government the power to restrict gas exports in the event of a shortfall. And because he didn't pull the trigger, 2018 was not officially declared to be a domestic shortfall year. So what about gas prices? You guessed it, they've not gone down, even though 2018 wasn't an official shortfall year. So what we have is a Prime Minister patting himself on the back for shaking hands with big business, all of his big business mates, for cutting a deal that he thought relieved him of the responsibility to take action, something he's very averse at doing. And what we have is a Prime Minister neglecting his responsibility to ensure Australians have access to fair energy prices. And his handshake agreement falls woefully short. It doesn't address the core problem, that Australia's enormous commitment to LNG exports and the connection of domestic prices, gas prices to the global energy market. Indeed, the commitments are so great that LNG operators have had to take conventional gas from South Australia and Victoria to fulfil their export contracts. And this also has put significant pressure on domestic prices. So, Deputy Speaker, the gas crisis certainly is not over. Australian manufacturers, Australian users of gas are paying the cost and the workers are paying the price. It's time that the Prime Minister admitted that his handshake agreement didn't solve the gas crisis. It just confirmed he's always looking after the big end of town.
I thank the member for Wills and I call the member for Moore.